Today, we are talking new business.
Can you believe that?
New business.
Holy cow.
So excited. So, how to start a new business and navigating those first few years.
Oh, well, yeah.
It could
And
be tough.
right now, the first two, right? It's like, whew.
So,
Crazy.
we don't claim to be experts, but I can tell you we are living through it.
Yeah.
And
Fight the good fight, as they say.
yeah, and there's a lot of ups and downs in the first 2 years of business.
For sure. Yeah.
And today we want to talk about that for anyone that is thinking about it, in the middle of it.
Take inspiration, hopefully.
Yeah.
Give some ideas how that looks. And
Yeah. And so it's funny because this morning I was online and I thought it was really funny. I saw a quote from Steve Jobs.
Oh,
And
the man.
do you know what he said? Every new business owner should not be afraid to do.
Try.
No.
Fail.
Yes. Bingo. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's a big word in the sense of how that looks nowadays because, America is built on experimentation opportunities and specialization, as I like to refer to. So, yeah, for sure. Take a swing at it.
And I think that failure is this hard word. It's like this bad word that everybody's afraid of. But
Yeah.
honestly, you got to fail to succeed.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of people don't have the nerve to try that. I mean, it
Right.
doesn't matter. And not business, right? This
Right.
is life as a whole. I think that ins and outs, ups and downs take you through that opportunity. Actually, what brought us here. I mean, if you think about what brought this store together, really uniquely created on history,
Right.
ups and downs.
Right. So let's talk about that for a minute. So, I mean, we've talked a little bit about what got us started.
Yeah.
But I was in the bridal world for years, and I drug you into it with me.
Yeah, which we loved.
We
Actually,
loved.
love to work together. That's a big part of what we do and
Yeah.
what brought us back to this and now at RLC.
But in the midst of this, COVID came.
Yeah. What a change in our world as a whole.
Yeah, and we moved into a new neighborhood,
Yep.
and you can't sit still. So,
I have attention deficit disorder, whatever they call it, ADD,
right, all the
ADHD.
things.
I have
You
all the
the
acronyms.
things. So, you would spend some time in the garage, dinking around, and bought a golf cart.
Yeah, well, we moved in this community, like Tracy said, and this community is the start of what's
Happening
a lot
now,
of happening
right?
nowadays.
Yeah.
In the story goes as long as he wants to go, but the part is karting is coming across the country. Had no clue. We bought a golf cart just because
Yeah.
we thought it was bougie and it was fun and it was going to be in a neighborhood and we were living the resort life.
Living the dream.
Yep.
Yeah, and so it just, in our case, we're probably, I mean, maybe we're not. I was going to say our business didn't start like a lot do, but actually maybe they do. I think sometimes
Oh.
it's just a dream or it just happens. You stumble across something.
We have great examples historically around the world, and especially the United States as a whole, but around the world about people fall into an opportunity. I mean, this beautiful little cake sitting next to us is a perfect example of a
Yeah.
person that is inspiring a lot of people, and we'll talk about maybe that a little later.
Right.
But we, bought a golf cart just for fun. Neighbor asked a question a few weeks later.
You going to sell that?
Yeah, well, from the car business, I love to sell things, love to buy things, love to make things look cool.
Yeah.
So next thing that summer, sold
A lot.
a lot.
Let's not
We'll
say a
just
number.
put the number on it. Out of the garage as a side hustle. The bridal industry allowed us to work seasonally, at least me seasonally more so. And so the garage became my normal habitat, which
Right.
is a big part of it. And so from there,
And so the cool thing, I'm just going to kind of interject here. The cool thing about that situation was you loved it.
yeah.
Like
Anything
the
with
garage
wheels.
is your happy place, cars, anything with four wheels, happy, happy, happy. And it was
Right.
so fun in this time of craziness going on in the world. Here you were, happy as a clam, out in the garage. And
Didn't
that
know
was so
anything
cool.
about carts as a whole. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got wheels on it, and that's the part that I love for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the passion, right?
Right.
That's starting a business, right?
Yeah.
You got to find some passion. Not everybody gets a chance to do in their day job.
Yeah.
But also, too, once again, the great thing about America, if you have a passion, follow it.
Right.
There's something. It could be small. It doesn't have to be great big, but at least gives your heart happy.
Yeah. So what we did, because we weren't willing to really risk everything at that moment, we took $20,000
Yep.
and bought a few carts,
Yep.
leased a
6,
building.
I remember the number. Yeah. Fell into the building that as
Yeah,
toward
right
the
across
end
the
of
street from the house.
22. Tracy and I had the conversation. This was getting serious. And there seemed to be a thing about this, and it was starting to work. So we thought, let's keep the hustle going. And so building opened up here where we are now here. And 1st of November of 22, Resort Life Carts became a real thing.
And so what I love when I tell this story is that this business started with you and one other person.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was, in our neighborhood, we were friends with a gal and that lived a few houses down from us, and her teenage son was always in the garage working on his car.
Another junior car lover. Yeah, for sure.
And you were like, I wonder if Colton would want to come work with me. And I remember I took Trisha out to coffee to ask her if she thought Colton would want to work for us, right? And here we are, 2 years in.
Yep.
And Colton has been with us the whole time. He has elevated. He's taken on new challenges.
He's now administrating the shop for us and
Yeah.
helping us run the team on that side. And pretty amazing. Yeah, young man, saw a lot of opportunity. And great set of hands
was
and a big brain. And
17? How old is Colton now? Maybe 18.
18, yeah. I think he was 18 at the
Yeah.
time because he just graduated.
Yeah. And so that was so cool, right? And I love thinking back to that time because it's so different from where we are fast
2 years.
forward 2 years later.
Yeah, yeah. Now a team of 7.
Yeah.
And
We could use more.
that's the blessing and where we're at with this,
Yeah.
the growth opportunity. But yeah, I mean, bam, we're a business.
Yeah.
We call it accidental, we call it intentional sometimes, but what a fun thing to do. And that's the part when people find opportunities is how to find a way to grow or actually make it a business, right?
Right.
I think that people not necessarily inherently know to do that. We've made some great friends recently this last summer over people that actually make candy in their kitchen.
Oh my gosh. And that was an accidental business
Another
as
accidental
well.
business. And oh my gosh, freeze-dried candy now is they are like the number one go-to in the area.
Yep. Yep.
And it's just because
Candy's candy.
candy's
Shout
candy.
out.
Yeah, yeah. So you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Our teammate Joe,
Yeah.
does our social work for us. The social just has a passion for people, community person. What happens? Now she's running our social.
And we need her. We couldn't do this on our
Yep,
own, right?
exactly,
And I think
yeah.
that's a big thing is finding people who can do things
Yeah.
that you can't do.
Yeah, empowerment.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have the time to do that. So Joe and I work pretty closely together to come up with things. Obviously, you and I talk all the time about that social piece, but we would never have time to do that.
Well, in today's world, that's a big segment of the business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As we talked about.
And I'll talk really quick because this is so top of mind. Last week, we've had 2 really long weeks of late nights and early mornings, and certainly we are not afraid of hard work. But we were filming some social, since you mentioned that. We were filming some social, and
12 hours is a short day for us. 14 to 15 is an average.
and we were tired. And so anyways,
Dopey.
it did not go well. It was so lame. And Joe just kept going, I've never seen you guys like this. And it's like, yeah, this is hard work.
Yeah.
For anybody who thinks you're just going to jump into a business and make a bunch of money and, sitting there eating bonbons. Well, that is not the case.
No,
At least
no.
not for us.
No. And I think every industry's got its nuances. Little did we
Yeah.
know the intense physical labor it takes to run a cart shop or dealership. Wow.
Yeah.
Here I am, 57, and running around and bucking carts and driving truck
Yeah.
and this is and that's. And I'll tell you, it's a labor of love, but I'll tell you,
Yeah.
it's a hustle, especially in 110 degrees.
I started bringing Tucker to work with us, our little dog.
Shop dog.
And now we call him the shop dog. And Even he comes home tired.
Right. Yeah, no,
like,
no
oh my
napping
God.
through the day for him. There's too much activity.
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to pull out my little papers here.
Oh,
so
it's that time. The teacher's here.
So we usually do a little word association game,
Yep.
but we talked about a lot of these same words when we did our marketing. So I'm just going to ask you 4 questions.
4. Only
Okay.
4. I like that. I can
Well, I already kind of went, we already talked about the first one. The first one I was going to ask you just naturally came about. What is the one thing every new business shouldn't be afraid to do?
try. Don't
Fail.
fail. Yeah.
Fail. That's what Steve Jobs says, fail. But you said try, which I like that too.
Yeah, I think that try and fail the try creates the opportunity to fail and or
Yeah.
win. And
Yeah.
and this show's about resorting to success. I think you can win. I think you can win dang near every time if you really watch where it's taken you or what the opportunity is.
Yeah.
Because it not always manifests to where you started. I mean, we started with 6 used golf carts, and now we have like 60 brand new ones.
Yeah.
So didn't start that as a thought or a theory. So
And fail doesn't mean it's done. It's
Right,
over.
that's-
It
yeah,
means
exactly.
you tripped,
right.
right? You tripped, you got up.
Well, maybe you'll learn something inside of that to take you to
Yeah.
a different opportunity, another business. So,
Right.
yeah, if your heart's in entrepreneurism and,
Yeah.
and learning and having fun with people, and that's what we do is
Yeah.
we just make this a fun thing.
Love it. Okay. So, what should a new business owner always be ready to do?
Work.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
like it.
dig in, work.
What should a new business owner never do?
Oh, that's a pretty broad stroke. I think that never do is give up.
Good. All right. What is the best thing to do when things are going wrong?
Take a breath. I mean, I think that's probably my greatest weakness is that I run at it sometimes. I think you've got to step back and look at it, and also to reach out to friends or family in those moments, or even other industry people. It doesn't matter if you're making candy; you can still make a phone call to somebody else and making candy if you really look around. So,
Yeah. And I think sometimes rest is the biggest
Oh.
thing. If you just think on it for the moment, like, all right, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to take a minute. We're going to table this
Yep.
and come back to it.
yeah,
That could be a
good.
big one.
That's
So, okay, this is a tough question. You ready?
yeah, I hope so.
How do you spell entrepreneur?
ENTRE.
Wait, say it again.
ENTREPEUR.
Wrong.
Well, give me a pen, maybe a keyboard.
You don't have to.
ENTREPU.
ENTREP.
We're there.
RENEUR. You don't have to know how to spell it to be one. How about that?
Ooh, look at you.
I thought I'd trip you up
Entree.
on that one.
Oh.
That's a hard word.
Yeah,
And you know
lot of
what?
it.
That's appropriate.
Yeah, hard.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard being
Good
an
call.
entrepreneur.
Nice lead in. I like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what level that looks like. I think that your person will take it where it needs to go, and I think that's where Tracy and I have been blessed in how we've grown this, and almost inside of 2 years now. It's taken both of us, even though you were in the bridal side there.
Yeah.
The support and also the involvement in behind the scenes or during the day or on the weekends or whatever. But it really, really takes time, it takes effort, and you just got to know you keep the pace. And we're still at the very beginning. We're
Right,
we're
2 years in
we're
doesn't
not
make a
old
career.
schoolers yet, yeah, because there's some leaders in our industry that we really look up to. We really want to be that.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I think is really key, and I did a little research on Steve Jobs, because obviously he has had this very successful business. But a big thing that he said that businesses have to be willing to do is pivot.
Yeah.
And we experienced this. We haven't talked about this a lot, but we opened a second location a year or so in an area that we thought, man,
Slam dunk.
slam dunk. This is going to be perfect, right? And it was the weirdest thing because if you were there, you were bringing customers there, like people would meet you there. But maybe it wasn't in a high traffic area, but still we were promoting the heck out of this.
Oh,
And still people came here to this location.
if you build it, they will come. Not necessarily applies. Yeah, I think that.
Right?
And people driving right by it and going to the location we're in today, and
Yeah.
and that's been the one from ground zero.
Right.
And still inexplicable in the sense of that. So every business has to do the litmus test and trying, and its financial efforts go alongside that because obviously we
Right.
built out a full store.
I mean, put a
But
lot of
yet-
money into it.
Never skipped a beat. It wasn't hurting the business, but it wasn't helping it. That's
Right.
the part for us. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, unique.
Pivot. And, then we had the opportunity to make this location bigger, which I think
Yeah.
helped
Yeah.
kind of absorb the other
In
location.
a moment, we absorbed it.
Yeah. But that is so key. Things are not always going to go the way we think they're going to go. It doesn't mean it was wrong.
No.
It just means that
Yeah.
it needed to be different, right?
I think if anything I've learned over the years with business as a whole, and this for RLC has been a big thing for me, is look back and learn where you came from, but keep moving forward. So if anybody takes anything from starting a business or running a business, is that you're going to have days of bruises. You're going to
Yeah.
have days that are like, holy crap, I don't want to do this. Really,
Right,
period.
right.
I mean, and then the next day, all of a sudden you wake up and something really positive happens and you're like, that's why I'm doing that, you know? And so I think that keep moving forward,
Yeah.
you know? And they say, if you're not growing, you're dying,
Right.
right?
And it's hard to keep growing, but we have goals.
Yeah.
And that is a big thing that they say every business should have our goals. I'll tell a funny story really quick. Here's another accidental thing we did. We accidentally bought a really expensive bottle of wine once.
Oh, yeah. Side note,
That's
we
a
like
story
wine.
for another day, but
That's how to get through the evenings after this.
but anyways, we bought this really expensive bottle of wine, and I am not. I mean, we like wine, but I'm probably the tightwad of the two of us. And I was like, yeah, okay, we have to do something before we open this bottle of wine, right? So we sat down, pen to paper, and we set some goals.
Yep.
And we said, if we achieve this goal, we will open that bottle of wine.
Right.
And we did.
And we did.
We met the goal. We drank the wine.
Absolutely.
And so that's silly. That's a silly thing.
Oh, but it's fun
But-
too. I mean, those little things like that are really what life's the spice of life, as they say. I think whatever motivates you, I think that's the unique thing. I think that we're blessed enough to have a goals between each other in the sense of that and leverage that every day. Stories yet to be told. We have big pictures going on with this brand and this deal. Exciting news that's coming down the pipe here that will now be old news when this launches, but we are launching another dealership in a
Right.
whole nother brand phase. And
Yeah.
we're excited to bring that into what RLC has started for us. So you never know where business is going to take you.
Right. And here's one thing that I would say about us, and I don't know if it's right or wrong or whatever, but diversity for us, we've talked about
Yeah.
that, especially since I came on board full time before we had a backup plan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so since I've come on board, we're like, okay, what else can we do? I mean, we're now doing the podcast. We've got a whole nother business with sheds. We're opening another brand. Like, I think that we may be afraid to fail, but we're also like, hey, we have to be able to grow. And if you never
Opportunities,
try,
it's all
you'll never grow.
opportunity. Yeah, it's all opportunity.
Right.
And your core business is your opportunity. So you don't let it distract you. That's the other part, because
Yeah.
I'm the king of distractions sometimes, but I think also too I'm trying to stay in our lane, as we say. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. I think the great part since you joined us is accentuated our customer experience. I think that's the biggest part. What RLC is built around and Resort Lifeguards is about our experience for our customers. We always say from the beginning, we want you as a friend first,
Right.
and a customer second. We work on that every single day. So when you grab your business and you start your business, find something that really makes you unique. And it's usually about you, if you really think about it, because you're the person that actually has the vision. It doesn't matter if you're starting an insurance company or if you're making beautiful cakes.
Yeah.
It's about you.
Right.
So what do you bring into the table?
And I think in our case, we want people. We have a fun product, and
Yeah.
it's not a
Stuff you can- yeah, I mean,
it's not a necessary product. It's
it's a want.
definitely a want, right? And it was cute. Just this, what day is today? Just last week. It was last week. We had this couple come in, and they had 2 young kids, and it was their second time back, and they were ready to do it, and the kids were jumping around through the whole thing, and we were doing all these things to try and get the paperwork done quick so we could get them out the door. And right at the end, when they were ready to leave, we write on the window of the cars to know whose it is, right? And so we'll write sold, Sprates, or whatever. And so these 2 kids were like 3 and 5. And so I said, okay, wait, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Hold on. And I went and I got our little red pen and I was like, who's going to write sold on the windshield? And this little kid just like lit up, and his parents, you could just tell like that was something that made a difference to them, right?
Yeah.
And
Experience.
I think it's just involving people, just same as we involve our team. You know, we can't make every decision. We don't experience every single aspect all day, every day.
Yeah,
You know,
no.
we want to make sure that we consult other people. So I think that's a part of it too.
You know, one thing big for us and is manifested with this brand, and every single day is going important. I recently mentioned about a couple restaurateurs here locally in Fresno that are legendary for this market, and Mike Sarunian and Dave Fansler. The unique thing about those 2 gentlemen is they're involved every single day in their business, but yet they're still top line businesses and they're community brands, and a perfect example of to what we aspire to be,
Right.
and being part of it every day and living it and making adjustments and, you know, on the pivots, like you said, be flexible. And we were sitting at dinner last night with Trevor and sitting there and having a pizza at a local restaurant that is a local brand kind of, but has lost that local touch.
Right.
And that's why I think big brands are going away. You see big brands going away. So I don't think bigger is better as a business necessarily. There is a scale depending on the industry, but that personal touch is what we need to continue to live and
Right.
breathe. We're a lifestyle product. We're a lifestyle type dealership. And so that lifestyle is built around what you bring to it. So as a business owner, I think people really got to remember it's all about what you bring to the table every single day.
And being invested, like not having everybody else run it and you're nowhere to be found. I think that
I think some businesses are lucky enough to work that way, maybe in some cases. But small business is not necessarily in
right.
America is built on small business, and that small business is really pivots on the persons.
right. Well, I think it just shows so much passion, right?
Yeah.
In that. I mean, even this summer when we were up at Bass Lake and, you know, the marina and Tom and his wife and his daughter and
In it, in
her
the
husband,
fight.
they
Yeah.
literally are there from open to close, you know, bussing tables, waiting on tables, in behind the bar, like working hard.
Yeah,
and
this
it makes
is not
a difference.
This is not stock trading. It's not a faceless program for sure.
Nope. Okay, let's see what else Steve Jobs said. So his advice to new business owners: follow your passion.
Yep.
You got that. Check. You said this just off the cuff because it's something we live and breathe every day. Focus on the customer experience.
Customer experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think that in today's world, everybody is critical of everything. And so you
Right.
have every opportunity to trip. People will set you up for failure no matter how they try.
Right.
So that customer experience, you have to learn every day. It's, oop, can't do that anymore. Got to do it this way. Hey, we should do it this way. Hey, we want people to understand this. And so you really, that customer experience is key.
Yeah.
Key. And the people around you, your team, as we call our team, They're not coworkers, staff. That's not the wrong word. It's your team. Because if you don't bring people in that actually live and breathe the same way you do in a small business in America,
Right.
your odds are against you.
Well, and I'll tell you, let's talk about team playing. So this last weekend we had 2 events.
Right.
Right. We had
Absolutely.
2 events. We were
Major
at
events.
a big car show with our custom carts, and we had a Fresno State game that we have.
We're a big sponsor.
We're
of
big
it.
sponsors,
Yeah.
and we show every home game. And so our teammate Mike was going to go cover it.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to his wife, Chris. She went out with him. She borrowed a RLC polo shirt, and she went out there and jumped
acted
into
about part of our brand and good representation. I mean,
Yeah.
other gentlemen and family around that supported this brand team. Yeah. That
Thank you
supported us.
also to Chris for being a part of our team.
Exactly.
That was,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how cool is that? You know?
We're blessed with a lot of friends that actually support us in that way.
I love
for sure.
that. So here's something that you have said for a long time. So this is interesting that Steve Jobs also says this.
Wow.
Look at you.
Just didn't get that paycheck, unfortunately.
Right. Be willing to say no.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things as a small business person that sometimes it creates opportunities for you and it feels like an opportunity. It's not. Sometimes it's how you sell to a customer. Offer something. Say no. If it's not fits what you want to give
Right.
it, the way you want to present it, if it's the product you sell or if it's the opportunity that's given to you, it's okay.
Yeah.
Say no.
Be willing to say no.
The takeaway, as they say, it really does help a lot of reasons. And it gives you some confidence you can move forward.
Right. He also says that you need to surround yourself with great people.
Right.
I honestly, that is like the biggest thing. Is great people.
Yeah.
We've been really, really lucky in that regard.
You know, one thing that I've taken away from business years, and I think that's the part the big focus is for our brand is to be I call it a cornerstone brand for the community. Carts are a byproduct of what we do. The front part of it is the people. And the people also, too, you can recognize this. There's community leaders around you. There's business people around you. Reach out and call them.
Right.
You know what? They don't know you, but you know what? It's very flattering when someone calls you and asks you, hey, I don't, I need some guidance and I see you doing this or I wonder about that.
Right.
And what a way to grow for yourself and what a way to show your business and also to get buy-in from those people that actually is like, hey, this person called me.
Right.
So wonderful opportunities to help you grow a business. If we didn't have some of the community support that we have because of our relationships historically,
Right.
yeah, it would have been a lot harder. It's been even harder every day.
And also the people that we've made friends with in the industry. I mean,
Oh.
think of
Startups
across
too.
the country and even in California, you know, they may be 3 or 4 hours away from us, but you have been, I mean, building these relationships and sometimes like, oh man, what should I do here?
Yeah.
And you just pick up the phone and call another dealer in another area. And I think that
One now
is
has become a
huge.
close friend, Jeff.
Right.
Jeff in Central Coast. He that guy was way ahead of us in the cart business. But he started just like us in the sense it was just a passion opportunity, and he saw a vision. And now he and I talk almost every single day, and which has
Right.
created a great friendship. But we
Yeah.
bounce things off each other, and that guidance, and someone else is looking at through a different set of glasses, as they say too, every day. So fun part of it.
And that's huge. So surround yourself with great people. Take risks and don't fear failure. I mean, we've already
We've already
talked
been
about
talking
this a
on
lot.
that. Yeah.
Stay hungry.
Yeah. How do you stay hungry? Well, I think every business goes through that. I mean, a cake is easy, right?
You
But
don't
staying
even have
hungry.
to be hungry to have that.
I think also too in the flexibility that staying hungry is eyes wide open. You know, it's like you don't know where your business is going to take you, your industry is going to go. RLC has manifested in a lot of different ways. I see other opportunities still for the brand, but I'm trying to focus on us keeping on the cart side. But there's a lot of electric vehicles coming down the line.
Right.
There's other opportunities. So what that looks like, it's like, wow, you know.
And it's hard. It's hard. In the bridal business, I saw this a lot, that there would be these bridal stores and they would be owned by the same person for 50 years.
Right.
And there came a point where you're like, okay, they aren't hungry anymore. They're not, their passion isn't there anymore. they're not giving the same customer experience anymore. And so that is a true statement. Stay hungry.
Well, and finding teammates that are hungry.
True.
I think that'll help carry
True.
a business also. I think
Yeah.
the passion for a business or an industry doesn't necessarily always obvious. Sometimes I've seen people come in from the restaurant business to be in the car business. I've seen people do different things. And so finding that next teammate sometimes can take over a business and replace you in some cases, not completely, but parts and pieces
Yeah.
to help you reignite that fire.
Right.
So another part of it.
Right, for sure. I would say that part of this we're not good at. Be patient.
I'm looking down and seeing this. And like, patience.
Be patient. That's a tough one because, I personally want everything now.
Now.
Yeah.
Well, that's our world today too. We're trying to fit inside that with a business that not necessarily people are used to having right now. But I think
Right.
for us as people, we live that expectation every day for ourselves. So I think it does help a tad bit on the
Yeah.
results. Sometimes we forget things, we don't complete things. That's where we're backing into being a business and forming processes and et cetera.
Yeah,
But yeah, patience is a tough one.
that's a tough one. I'm like, oh, I need a haircut. I want it yesterday. I need to lose 5 pounds. I definitely want that yesterday. You know what I mean? Like the patience factor is not.
Big for you.
No gig for you. Exactly. But I have to.
Yeah, I know.
So, what would you say if somebody is thinking of starting a business and they came to you and they're like, what should I do? And actually, we have this happen all the time. We have friends that we've had
Yeah,
meetings with.
we've been lucky.
Brainstorming
I
sessions.
think that sometimes you don't know what you put out in space until I think the age thing happens too, which is right in front of us, especially for me, is that people ask you, what do you do? What do you think about? It's like I've been in the last few years, especially have people call me and say, hey, what would you do? I think you really just got to be willing to go all in. Because if you don't go all in from the beginning, you're not going to get all in results. I think that you sometimes can dabble yourself to death. And I think if you intend it to think there's an opportunity, I don't care what that looks like. I really don't. I mean, it's just as an example. I'm going to use this cake as a simple example. This young lady right here is literally one of the most talented cake makers on the whole Western United States. She's recognized nationally, but she's still working out of her kitchen in her home. She's smart. She's got it. I mean, she's got vision like no skill. What's her next step? What's going to push her to the next level? So her next level is all in, and she knows that, and that's where she's pivoting right now. So all in gets you to that next level.
Yeah.
So I think go in.
And so we'll talk about Veronica for a minute, Bakery Box. So they bought a cart from us.
Yeah.
And
Cool one, too.
Yeah, really cool. And she came by the other day, something regarding the cart. She had to pick something up. And while she was here, I said, oh, Veronica, I've been meaning to call you because I want a cake for the podcast show on Tuesday. She goes, great. I mean, I literally barely told her what I wanted. She was running, I was running, go with our company colors, blah, blah, blah. She made it so easy.
Oh, vision.
And-
Well, she has instant vision. That's a part of her business too. Yeah.
Texted me, what flavor do you want? Whatever. Boom, this cake shows up and it's like, duh. Like she's amazing. And I think that is her superpower, right? Is being able to know what is amazing and what
Manifest.
looks good and see people's visions with very little guidance.
Right.
She definitely is good at that. So, we try to do that too. I think the other thing, and I can't stress this enough, seriously, the hours that go in on a business is crazy.
That's all in.
It's
Yeah,
all
that's all
in. I mean,
And even
All
if
in.
it's a side hustle, it's got to be at the beginning, like we started. It was still all in. And uniquely for me, I that's the only way I work. I'm very single channel, like most male men. That we're very focused, and if we dive in, we dive in. And so, if you flip channels and you're coming off your day job, and that's where you're going, all in.
yeah. And I think most people may look at other business owners and think, oh man, that just looks so easy. I should start a business.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, just this last week, like Monday to Friday, I mean, we worked all week, we worked all weekend, and even on Sunday, which was technically going to be our only day off, we
Had a 4-hour meeting on the next opportunity.
we sat for 4 hours. That did include a few mimosas, so I'm not complaining. But
It's Sunday fun day.
right, but then we had another meeting after that with some other neighbors on a project that we're talking about going in on. And so it takes work.
Yeah.
This is not for the
Not for-
people that don't want to work hard.
Yeah. Well, and that's okay. This is not
Right.
for everybody. If everybody, I mean,
Yeah.
we're like I said, we're a unique example. I think we're really lucky, and I think there's a whole lot of good people out there that have
Yeah.
these opportunities that want to try things. Do it, man.
Right.
Just do it.
So there was some interesting facts that on average, if a business is going to fail, it typically does so within the first 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
I
I think it's
most
still a
people know that
scary
fact.
time for us. I mean, I don't think we're set in concrete. I think there's a lot of things that feel really positive, and I think that every day that's in the back of your head, right?
Right.
Because you're trying to get a paycheck out of this thing, and I think that also keeps your spirit, your kindred spirit, going, right? I mean,
Yeah.
use the fear for the power, So
There's a meme that's gone around, and every time I see it, it just makes me laugh because it's so true. And it's, it says, "Oh, you're so lucky to own your own business. You just get to go with the flow." And then it says the flow, and it's somebody in a raft in this like crazy river, and and they're like, that's the flow.
well, our flow is fray. Is fray. We know
So-
when we're doing it right when it's at the fray. That means the ragged edge of a mess.
Right.
I mean, you said need more people. You can't throw bodies at it because we can't afford that quite yet, or anytime, I guess. But also to the fray, we know we're doing it right because the pressure to perform is because people are coming to you and asking for your services.
Yeah.
So really cool.
Yeah. So going back to some of these statistics, research also shows that about 20% of small businesses will fail in the first year.
Yeah.
If you can survive that, 30% in their second year, and by the fifth year, nearly 50% have failed. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was
Scary
so
number.
high.
Scary number. I think
Yeah.
you whatever business that looks like, I think RLC is the start of something. And there's an industry transition going on with small electric vehicles, and that's my vision to this. Is that well, we'll get off on a tangent on the electric vehicle thing because a lot of people have pushback, and I agree with a lot of cases, but also too practical. And they're fun and practical.
They're fun. They're fun.
The fun part keeps us going, I think, right?
Yeah. So what have we learned in our first 2 years of business? What have we learned about the juggle, the struggle, the fun?
There's so many things. That's a broad stroke to answer to, but I think the learn is that every day is different.
Yeah.
Every single day is different. Be flexible, be aware, and that's the part. Every day, it's like I've yet to wake up in the morning going, I don't want to go to work. So that tells me that I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
So if you don't wake up with that feeling in your gut, I'm not saying I love it every single day. I mean, there's pressure points to every business, but I think though as a whole is I don't want to do that. I'm not punching a clock. So that's the good part for
Yeah.
me. What about
And
you?
I think that we need to still work on, and every business owner, I think this is a struggle, is the balance, the
Well,
work-life balance, right?
Treadmill.
Because
we're on the treadmill, as I say.
yeah,
Right now
those
we're at
first
full blasted 9.0 and we're running.
5 years,
Yeah.
you're sitting there going, okay, how do I make this better? How do I survive? How do I get through it? And you still have families and friends and obligations outside of work.
Yeah.
But I think that we've realized we love to work together.
Yeah.
We
Love,
knew
love.
that. We
So lucky for
we
that.
do well, and it's not always easy. We don't always agree.
No.
We knew that ahead of it, going into it. But it's good to have different perspectives. My perspective is very different than yours because you have a very technical perspective on the carts. You've grown up around
car guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's more about
The vision.
the fun,
Yeah.
the family,
Right.
the
That's a balance. We're lucky for that balance.
Yeah.
I think that's, and that's growing in you now being inside what for about 4-ish months.
right.
I mean, seems
That's
like
it. That's
seems
it.
like longer because she actually has been involved before
Yeah.
that for sure, but plugging in every single day, but quickly establishing roles.
Right.
As they say, establish boundaries, and not necessarily the same. I think that's you and I rely upon each other for almost everything, and so that's unique. We're blessed in that case to have those conversations if we can find those windows of time. Now it's laying on a pillow at night, but hey, did you think about?
I know. The other night we were watching TV and I'm like, okay, it's 8:30. We're not talking about business anymore. Stop. We're detoxing. we're done.
Yeah.
And I was very adamant. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, hey, I forgot to tell you. And you're like,
Yeah, that was a momentary moment, pivotal moment, because
Or laying
I'm
in
never
bed.
the one that says,
Yeah. Your head hits the pillow and then you're like, oh, wait, I forgot.
yeah, that's business. That's small business.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
I'm sure Veronica wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about a new design for a cake or a customer that called her, and that's your sense of loyalty to what you do.
And I think a big thing, this is one thing I would say to every new business owner. Celebrate the victories.
Oh, big ways.
Celebrate the victories because there are going to be tough days. And when something goes great, yay! It's okay to be excited.
And I think, it's one thing that just popped in my head as you said that, is that you and I are very public and social. So I think not for everybody, as we've talked about, but I'm going to tell you, celebrating those moments, we're pretty good at doing it publicly, and our friends support us through it, and our family.
Yeah.
So when you celebrate those moments, find somebody to celebrate it with. If it's your wife, your husband, your daughter, your kid, your pastor, your coworker, whatever that moment is, celebrate. Because I'm going to tell you, that cake right there is a whole lot of us, right?
That's a whole lot of work. And
That's a
2
whole lot of
years.
years to create that cake, an opportunity for that cake. So, man, love it, live it, do it.
And building people up, not just in our business, but I feel that we try to encourage people, and certainly we're not perfect, but I don't know. I love to see other people succeed too, and I think that's something that as a society we all need to work on. Like, just
Holding people up.
celebrating with other people and their successes. I mean, we talk about some of our competitors. They're not really competitors, but other industry people in other areas and how you become friends. And sometimes Jeff will call with, oh my gosh, guess what we did? Dude, that's so exciting. We're
love
so
that.
excited.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, celebrating. We got to celebrate the little things. You referenced we were at dinner last night with Trevor. Trevor is in town for a couple days, my son, and I ordered champagne.
Right.
And the waiter was like, "Oh, are you celebrating anything?" I'm like, life.
Life, yeah. Made the day happen,
Yeah.
right?
And of course we were.
So all philosophical things aside, one thing about RLC is, and just to get everybody up to speed again, we're a street legal focused cart dealership with spawns off of golf carts.
Yes.
We are a new generation vehicle, and I want to bring us back to this reality for the moment because this is our celebration. This is what we do. We're here talking about Resort Life, and why we called it Resort Life is because this type of product it is, and it feels like outdoor fun, and we see people having these things, and that's why they're doing it. Our brand is growing, we feel, and it's being helped by so many great people, and really what we do is a celebration in its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And including, I'm telling you, our team is amazing.
Oh.
So that is, when you talk about the key to success, it really is the people.
All about the people.
people.
Because people, you can put anything you want in a showroom, on a floor, on a store, on a website, whatever, but if it's not the people backing it up, it still doesn't happen like it should. So yeah, thanks to everybody so far.
Thank you to everybody that's been a part of this. We are going to go have some cake.
Yeah, let's do that.
I can't wait. I love cake. I don't care what time it is. I love cake.
Yep, let's do it.
Hey, congratulations. 2 years.
2 years.
Bam.
Here's for
Did
another
it.
10 more.
Yay.
Love ya.
Love ya.